Hi there folks, Borislav247 here with another Days Gone video. And on this video, I'm going to show you all how to get over to the south extremely quickly. Get your hands on two of the best weapons you can possibly get early game, and then get all the way back over to Copeland's camp again. All inside 20 minutes of leaving Copeland's camp for the first time. Sounds too good to be true? Yeah, just keep watching. There are ways to get this done. Now, the two weapons that I am referring to are the Superior Metal Axe and the MG45. But if you are playing your Days Gone game on Survivor or Survivor 2 difficulty, you will not be able to get all of this done inside 20 minutes. And the reason being is that this method does require the use of fast travel in order to work. Now, you can still get this job done, but the only problem is going to be that you're going to have one extremely long bike ride in order to get back over to the north. Now, it can be done, and at the end of this video I will leave a link to a video that will show you how to get back from the south to the north using a bike. But on this video, it's all about the frog jumping. And because the frog jumping is the biggest part of this video, I am going to go into quite a bit of detail as to how this jump is performed. Because this particular one has a lot of things that you need to be getting right in order for it to work. So, without any further ado, let's get to the action. Right then folks, this is a state of play at this point because I've gone through what is essentially the prologue section of Days Gone, eventually got to Copeland's camp for the very first time, a few cutscenes take place, and after this you are presented with a bike from Manny which you are now able to use to go around the Days Gone world. This is the first time you're really properly let loose, and that is what you will see if you open up the map at this point. But before I get started on what I'm going to do, I want to change the nighttime into daytime, and you do this by making sure that Deke has a sleep. So I've just taken care of that very quickly through editing. Never a bad thing to do. Once I'm on this bike here, I'm going to show exactly where I want to be heading. And it's actually an area where you get one of your first main missions. It's not shown on the map at the moment, but I'm going to move the cursor up to this area right here. And from here, I'm just going to move the cursor back over to my left. And then just down to round about that point there. This doesn't need to be super accurate. That is roughly where I'm heading. The exact spot I will show once I actually reach this logging area when I get to it. But this particular area will not take long to get to. As you can see on screen there is a distance marker, and it's showing me this area is just over 500 meters away. So even with this bike being as slow as it is, I'll be there in round about 1 minute. So happy days. And of course, because I'm not playing this on Survivor or Survivor 2 difficulty, I have the luxury of being able to see the minimap at all times. So, when I get to this location, I will be shown how to do this particular frog jump. A great number of steps to it. But this is something that a lot of people will probably be wondering about, because it'll become pretty evident that I'm going to be doing an extremely long frog jump. So the bike is going to be getting abandoned and left in Cascade. So, if the bike has been left in Cascade, how the hell is it possible to use fast travel? Rest assured folks, there is a way, and I will show later on exactly how I managed to activate fast travel. It's actually a very elegant, simple solution in the end, but it's something that a lot of people simply may not be aware of because it's not a situation that you're in very often. But anyhow, I'm here now at the location, and one final piece of advice folks. If Deacon is having a conversation with Boozer, or anyone else for that matter, let the conversation finish before attempting the frog jump. Now I don't on this video, but be aware, if there is a conversation taking place, it can sometimes disrupt when you hear Deacon screaming in the air in the first part of the frog jump, so be aware of that. I'm lucky I get away with it here. So make sure that Deke is crouched and armed with a weapon. Once he gets onto this crate here, make sure that you get him over into the corner with his left arm out like that. Then use the right joystick on the controller to set the height. You ideally want to be flying right through all these birds. Now a quick flick of the left joystick, followed very quickly by pressing L1 and L2 together, then letting go of L1 before he actually flies off. Once you've got that done, you're waiting to hear this scream. Now you must wait at least 4 seconds. After the 4 seconds, let go of the L2, quickly use the left joystick to move Deke towards the new direction, then let go of the left joystick and quickly hold L2 and L1 together, and then let go of L1, and that is it. Deke will never scream again because you are now continually flying, and in order to keep going higher up and moving forward, just repeat steps 9, 10 and 11. But do be aware, you can also keep Deke going forward without getting too much height by letting go of the L2 but not bothering with the left joystick. Just very quickly go back to pressing L2 and L1 together and then letting go of L1. And that keeps Deke going very nicely indeed. Now, something you will have noticed there, Deke did seem to stop, which does happen if you go over certain boundaries. So if this does happen, folks, just repeat steps 9, 10 and 11, and that will get you moving again. But let's focus on the direction now, because I'm now over into, yep, you can actually see it, region Crater Lake, and I'm looking to ideally get Deacon going between Wizard Island and Diamond Lake in terms of direction. You need to pass in between them, and I'm actually heading over towards the Spruce Lake ambush camp. And I'm getting a lot lower now, so I can actually see a bit more. I can see the smoke in the distance, which is a good marker. But not only that, the superior metal axe that I'm looking to get my hands on is very nearby also. So I'm looking to land Deke very soon, especially as that camp there just to my left is where the superior metal axe is. So folks, how do you land one of these frog jumps? Just let go of L2. Simple as. Deke will go on for a bit depending on how fast he's going with the frog jump, but he will eventually stop and start to plummet down to earth. Now, a huge piece of advice here. Sometimes there is marauders in this particular camp. If that is the case, take out the ambush camp before coming for the superior metal axe. I say this for good reason, because right now, this game has not been saved. So if anything happens to Deke right now, that's it. You're starting back at Cascade. A lot of time has been wasted. But I don't have this to worry about here because there is nobody here, so I am just going to take the time just to get 1 or 2 items that may be about. Truth be told, I'm actually pretty well stocked, so at this point, that is one of the biggest advantages you can possibly get done and dusted. And by the way, when you get the chance, one of the first skills that you want to have in place from the skill tree is obviously the one where you can actually repair a melee weapon. Because although this particular melee weapon is extremely durable, if it happens to break, that's it, you're screwed unless you're heading back over here to get a new one. Because these do respawn, but you can only get a superior metal axe in the south. Anyhow, moving on. The next part of this video is all about getting the MG45, and you're not going to get a much easier way of picking up one than doing this. This camp was very purposefully selected because it has a horde that resides at the back of this camp. So one well-placed bullet into an explosive that is near the back of this camp will get this entire horde coming out in a big way. Now, I'm lucky I do have the luxury of having a suppressor for my 9mm, but don't worry about it if you didn't manage to pick one up in the prologue section, because the worst case scenario is the marauders will hear your gunshot, but the horde's going to come out anyways and still take them all out, so don't worry about it at all. Another solution as well is, if you happen to have picked up an attractor, you can also just throw an attractor into the ambush camp, and you will get this horde coming out pretty damn quickly. But right now, as you can see, they've already taken out 2/3 of this camp, so I'm just going to head down over to the front section of this ambush camp. in order to get by where the bunker area is, which I need to get into in order to properly open up this camp. And once this camp is properly opened up, it actually solves a couple of big problems which I've had up until now. Now, the second one I'm going to explain more about later on in the video when it's applicable to tell you about it. But the first one I have already mentioned, and it's all to do with game saves. Because I don't have a bike, I simply have not been able to make a game save at any point. Up until now. Once I get this ambush camp properly opened up, get into the bunker, that's it. I have a game save option in there. So if anything happens to me bad after this, I'm not going to be transported straight back to Cascade. I will start from here. But of course my problem right now is I'm having to wait a touch before I can even get into this bunker because of this bloody horde. Unfortunately, you sometimes get one of the marauders that will come over to this section and hide. And I actually don't mind it when this happens because I'll just quietly take out the marauder and that's it, the whole camp's taken care of. But in this case, the horde got to this marauder before I did. So yeah, it's kind of chewed into a wee bit of my time, but I'm still very confident I'll get all this slot done in well under 20 minutes. Now, while all this is taking place, it is worth pointing out that although there is a Nero site in this ambush camp, I'm not going to be opening up that Nero site because it's just taken up a bit of time. But if you're wanting to get your hands on an injector very quickly, yeah, it's worth doing, but it does take a few minutes in order to get everything done because you've got to be quiet when taking out the speakers and whatnot, and I've just got my eyes on the prize here. So at this point I'm looking to actually get Deke to have 2 sleeps in order to keep the day cycle going, because the first sleep here obviously will take it to night time, and then I want the second one obviously to change it back to the day. And what this will do for me nice and easily is to clear the horde that were roaming about this ambush camp, because they would go back to where they came from, but that is going to take time. It'll probably take a few minutes before they all completely disappear. But this is by far the easier way of getting things done quickly here. So yeah, it's just a waiting game here. Because I'm doing everything in real time here, I'm just letting this all play out. So we're just about there. And it's also quite cool as well. I like seeing the effect of it changing from night to day. So now that that is done, I'm just going to take the time to open up the map to show where I am. Now, unfortunately, I can't move the cursor about because I should not be in the south. The map does not work correctly when you are over here, so do be aware of that. But I've also made a game save, so that is it now. I'm heading out of this bunker, and I would recommend for most people to loot the shit out of this ambush camp. There is a lot of stuff here. I'm not going to go quite that mad. I'll take 1 or 2 things, but obviously my eyes are on the prize. I want this MG45. I'm not sure where it is, but I'll certainly find it. I can see just by noticing all the X's on the minimap there, showing me where all the dead bodies are. So just moving around here, and I don't have a particularly good primary weapon at the moment. I should be able to get an SAF 12 off one of this lot, but there we go. That is the biggie right there, MG45. And yeah, the only thing that is starting to worry me a little touch about this is the majority of the marauders were taken out near where the freakers have come from. So I'm going to have to get pretty close to this horde in order to get my hands on this SAF 12, but what the heck, I'm going to do it anyhow. Yeah, normally this part would go an awful lot quicker. I am just being super cautious here, just to make sure that I don't have a fight on my hands. Not that it would be a huge problem when you've got an MG45, but at the moment I don't have a great deal of ammunition for the MG45. However, I'm going to change that, because there is a box of ammunition very nearby that will give me some more ammunition for the MG45. Not that I need it, because on this particular video, yeah, all the threats are pretty much taken care of, but there is one more thing that I've got to do now in order to get near finishing all of this, and it is heading over to, believe it or not, Wizard Island, and all will become clear once I get over there. Now, I need to make another frog jump very similar to the first one. Not quite as important that I get the second phase away for this, but it will certainly make things a little bit quicker, because I'm heading for Wizard Island, but I am looking to land at a very specific spot. I need to be on the higher ground at the top here, because all this area is nice and safe to land on. However, the area very close to the water in the bottom section and Wizard Island itself are a nightmare to land on, because the areas near the water, 9 times out of 10, you will die if you land on. And Wizard Island, I've managed to stick a landing a couple of times, but in general, you normally die. So I'm just looking to land over in this area here. Much safer, every time, no problems. You land, you take no damage. And now it's heading over to Wizard Island to pretty much finish this video. Now, it's a fairly short jog here, but it will give me time to answer the two biggest questions that everybody will have at this point. The first is, why the hell didn't you just do a big frog jump like you did at the beginning and head all the way from the south to the north? Well, the answer is a very simple one indeed. Unfortunately, you will never be able to stick any of the landings as soon as you get to the north. Every time, Deacon will die. And not only that, you get dropped off back at Crater Lake at a really nasty position as well. So it is simply not worth doing. It has to be a fast travel option. And that brings me very nicely to the second question. How on earth do you manage to fast travel back to the north when you do not have a bike in the south? Well, once I get into Wizard Island, after I visited the vendor in order to stock up on ammunition and get a couple of suppressors, I'll head over to the mechanic. And the first thing the mechanic is going to offer me is the chance to get my bike recovered. And it's only going to cost me 50 credits. So, an absolute bargain. And of course, once I have the bike, I then have the option of fast travel. Now, if you're playing this on survival or survival 2 difficulty, you will not have this option, and you will have to make the very arduous trip indeed of getting back to the north using the bike. And there is a way to do this. If you're not sure of how to do this, I am going to leave a link to a video that will show exactly how this is done. I'm not going to show that again, not in this video, but I have another video that takes care of all of that. But anyhow, like I said before, just looking to fill up on ammunition here. Might as well, given that I have all these credits. And of course, in the north at the moment, my trust levels aren't even high enough to get a sidearm suppressor yet at Copeland's. So might as well make sure that I have that in play. But here we go, look at this. Would you like us to retrieve your bike? 50 credits. Thank you very much. And another thing, hugely important. Before you attempt to get back to the north, make sure that you fill up the bike with fuel. It has to be full, or you will not be able to make the fast travel journey back. Simple as. I'm going to bring up my map here, move up to the north, and you'll see straight away that yes, fast travel is available. But look what happens if I try to go to Ilaria Mountain. Not that far away, and it's saying straight away not enough fuel. So absolutely guaranteed, if you do not have enough fuel in this bike, you simply can't make that journey. But there we go, folks. That is all inside 20 minutes. And I have got all the way over to the south. I have the best melee weapon in the game. I have a fantastic special weapon to use. And all for less than 20 minutes work. Yeah. That's why I wanted to show this video so badly. And that brings me very nicely to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Take care.